Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I plan is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay with some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing they only listen to Keyshawn and Hicks. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills dominating on the field. And our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
40 keys. Oh, guess what?
No Tyrod in the house?
Nah. And you know who else in the house?
Who?
No 40 scruff keys.
No 40 scrub keys
is
in the
gone.
house.
Did you see
Shaved
it?
up. Oh,
Now-
yep, gotta do it. Gotta do it. There it is. There it is.
Now,
one more.
Now, I must admit, they didn't tell me all wall guards are not created equal.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a little small, shorter than I thought I was gonna be. I'm like,
Ooh.
at first, I said, whoo! I said, I got to commit now.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back.
Wait,
but
did you go? So you usually close the blades all the way and then put the guard on and go, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're never supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to
Yeah.
start open every time.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what? I was like, I could do this because I thought about doing a 1.
Yeah.
But I was like, 1.5, whatever. It's going to grow back anyway. I don't really care. I don't have time for this nonsense.
That is very true.
You know, I said, I don't have time for this nonsense. So I said, all right, cool. Because normally what I do is I start with a whole guard higher.
Yep.
So this time I'm like, it's Sunday. I want to get to the game. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, I went for it. At least my sideburns and my beard is all right.
There you go. There you go. I'm sure it'll work out.
It's all right. It's going to grow back. You know, hey, all is fair. All is fair.
Right.
How you been, though, man?
Oh, long week. Long day. So yesterday was my daughter's birthday. She's 11 now. Big ups to Allie Bear.
Yes, indeed.
So we went to Lasertron.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very unaware of how much Lasertron had changed.
Oh, it changed.
Yeah.
Oh.
It used to be, I mean, back when I used to go, it used to be like all one level.
Oh, yeah, no.
Just one floor, you just run, you zigzag through whatever. Like, there are levels to
Yes.
this game now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's serious. Like, the inclines and the decline, like, you got to really have some stamina to be, and it's only 4-minute matches, right? But me running around at 250 plus, like that, that ain't helping the situation. By the time I finished, my hat was soaking wet. Mm-hmm. Like it was just all a darker color than what I went in with.
And you were like, man, what have I become?
Bro, I needed an IV by the time I was done.
Yeah, you're like, give me this pizza, baby. Give me some give me that pizza. Well, yeah, no, I realized that when I was about 22, last time I went, and my knee was crunching the whole way.
What?
Yeah, because the incline is dark, so you can't see. And my knee was like, click, click. I'm like, nope, never again. I had the card, never went back. Never went back. My life was on the line at that point.
You'll be excited to learn that's where I plan on having my birthday. So.
Oh, yeah, 40, okay. Okay. I'll be sitting at this table.
They got axe throwing in the back. We can just go throw some axes or do some go-karts.
Well, this man is serious. He's really going to do it.
No, well, because it's free. I didn't know this.
What?
But they they gave us an 8-person party free. I'm like, I don't even know 8 people. I just gotta go.
Like, just, hey, you come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna just invite up
Everybody.
to 8, and it's totally free. Like, you can play laser. Yeah, I was like, yo, I need to take advantage of this. Right. As soon as you said that, I know where I'm having my birthday.
Yeah, because that Buffalo Battleground was a little more than free. So
yeah. But you know what though? It does remind me a lot of Buffalo Battleground.
Yeah,
like
the
the
same
gaming
concept.
floor is not as big as Buffalo Battleground, but the adult entertainment area is bigger than
the axe throwing. You know, not adult entertainment. Axe throwing.
Well, so here, okay. So this is
gotta make
the
sure
thing.
because you know Roy might be in the comments. I don't know.
No, he is. So he did say, "What's going on, Kev?" Roy said, "Clippers on 3 for me."
Okay, all right.
That's
pretty long.
yeah, it is pretty long.
I don't have. Well, I could grow that kind of hair, but I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
He would kill me.
Yeah. But so yeah, the axe throwing area is all digital. Like so you know how Buffalo Battleground is all real? Like in Laser Trying it's all digital.
Yeah,
So
they care about your fingers and eyes.
Yeah,
and
that stuff is important. It's kind of especially when you got kids running around. You don't want to do that.
Alcohol, axe throwing, not a good mix.
No. I don't know how to respond to this.
I told you I was going to happen.
To this.
Roy's one you cannot say free adult entertainment.
All right, we need to move along here. All right, so should we start the show with?
Let's do your thing.
Yeah,
let's do your thing.
Oh, my thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was thinking about ways to present what I think the Bills should do in the most constructive and positive way that I could think to deliver.
Good, because today's gonna be the day where everybody cancels me.
Oh man.
Yeah. I get to say I told you so. Not the people in the crowd, because they understand, they've listened to us all this time, but somebody that does say actually knows more than me said what I've already said. So here we go.
Wow. Okay. All right. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be great. All right. So what I've done is I've done a decent amount of research, and I found 3 perfect fit, cost-effective players in free agency that the Bills could sign to fill some very big holes right now and free up a lot of our draft picks to go towards real needs that are cornerstone positions, right? So I want to start off with my first guy, Elijah Moore.
Okay.
Elijah Moore is 5'9", 180 pounds, just about, right? Good route runner, great speed. He ran a 4.35 in the 40, if I'm not mistaken. He's played outside most, if not all, of his career between the Jets and the Browns. He seemed to fit the system in New York a little bit better than Cleveland, but he's been productive everywhere he's been. I just don't think he's gotten a lot of opportunities, right? But if you look at what the Buffalo Bills need opposite Keon Coleman, it's a good route runner that can win outside. We've seen Elijah Moore win outside deep. We've seen Elijah Moore win with his route running over the middle. We've seen him run underneath routes. He can do it all. Right. So when I'm looking for a guy that can serve as my contingency if I don't get a bona fide number 1 in the draft, this is the guy that I can put into that Amari Cooper role, and he will be that good route runner that I need that can beat man coverage on a regular basis, open things up for Shakir in the middle, and create some space for Keon Coleman to work opposite him. Roy says, "Do you trust Josh's accuracy when throwing deep to a 5'9" wide receiver?" He did it with John Brown.
See, I don't, but I'm not mad at your Elijah Moore though. I did think about him.
Yeah. He's 24 too. That's the other part. He's cheap
and
he's very young.
Yeah. See, I think the big thing is Elijah Moore is not just a deep target. See, we gotta get away from thinking about speed guys as just deep.
Exactly.
And I've talked about this numerous times. We talk about how we want that deep there to take the top off of a defense. Now we still need guys that can work the underneath, because if you can't do that, then defenses can sell for one thing, because that's all you do. That's why Hollywood Brown for me is a tough one, even though he's like 26 or 25 or something like that.
He's very not injury prone, but he's had a lot of injuries.
He's had a lot of injury. He's gravitated towards the injury side, and he's that deep guy that we talk about. We don't really see his production over the middle. I think that alludes to what Roy's talking about in terms of the size.
Yep.
But some guys, I don't want to typecast guys just because they're not a certain stature. People can do big people things as small guys. People do small people things as big guys, and we've seen it before, and we'll see it again.
So Elijah Moore's market value, just so everybody is aware. Let me see. It's pulling up here. So his market value right now is $4.5 million annually. Right now, Spotrac is they're anticipating him getting a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. Listen, for $4.5 million, you're paying Curtis Samuel almost that much already. Mm-hmm. Get this guy in the door. You can sign him to a 3-year deal of $4.5 million a year, right? But he's 24. He's shown you that he can do the job as a route runner. He can win against man coverage, and he's got good speed. Now, really, this particular pick and this player depends on how much the team is going to value a wide receiver being able to block. Because I'm not really sure about Elijah Moore's blocking at 5'9", 180. But to me, honestly, I need my receivers to catch passes and touchdowns.
I mean, how much blocking did Amari Cooper do? How much
Yeah.
blocking does Curtis Samuel do? So, I mean, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth when you're talking about blocking because they're both not prolific blockers.
Yeah.
You know, Mac Hollins, yes. Keon Coleman, okay, sure. Khalil Shakir, he puts his head in the fire. But a bona fide blocker, he is not, and that's fine because, like you said, we got to get away from this concept of, they don't – I'll get into that later with another topic I got on the docket. But
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Elijah Moore's scouting report has him as a prospect grade of 6.43, will become a good starter within 2 years, right? And for him, I think this was a situation where he was with two bad offenses, right? He started with the Jets, he went to the Browns, and the Browns just decided to go in a completely different direction when they were going for names and all that kind of stuff to pair with Deshaun Watson and everything. So it was for the Browns at that point when they got Elijah Moore, it was more so about trying to get out of the basement of, unpopular teams, right? So he didn't really, again, this is a guy that didn't see a lot of opportunities. When you look at his career, so in 4 seasons, he started a total of 40 games, right? He out of 61 possible games, he started 40. He was targeted 348 times. He caught 200 of those. It looks like he averaged about 500 yards a season. 500 yards a season. The most amount of touchdowns he ever got was in 2021, his first year. He had 5. After that, it was 1, 2, and 1. He really wasn't being used that much. His first season, he started 6 games. Second season, started 9. Then when he went to Cleveland, he started 12 and 13.
Is this the guy that requested a trade out of New York?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me. But his last 2 seasons in Cleveland, first season in Cleveland, he had 59 catches, 640 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, those are decent number 3 numbers. You know what I'm saying? And realistically, that's kind of what the offense was at that point. Not a great offense. So all I'm saying, I'm not saying this guy is going to come here and be a superstar, but if you're looking for young, cheap guys that have a lot of potential, this is one of those dudes that can come in and Josh Allen is going to elevate anybody that plays with him. We've seen him do it now with Mac Hollins and everybody else on this offense. Nobody thought Keon Coleman would be anything. He came in and had some games too. So, I don't want to overlook a guy like this as he's too small, he can't do this, whatever. He's got the skill set. He's got talent. It's worth a shot. Any other thoughts on Elijah Moore?
Let's see. Let me just take a quick look at him. You know how I roll. I don't know much about any of these guys. So, this is a selling point for me. It sounds backwards, really backwards, but backwards, if you will. But I don't see anything for special teams, and for me, I don't need it.
Yes.
So I think we need to see Bean and McDermott pivot from that way of thinking that they have to produce on teams as well, because whether or not you have Cook and Davis and Johnson or not Johnson and Gore, whoever you have, your wide receivers are on the team to do one thing. The second word in their title, receive. They're supposed to receive the ball. It doesn't say anything about tight ends blocking. That you got Dalton Kincaid who can't block, so clearly you don't really care.
Right.
You can't pick and choose.
That's a great point.
Who you want to do what. And if you got a guy like this that can give you something in the passing game, I'm sure. Let's see if he has any. I don't know if he has any rushes, but yeah, he has a few rushes. He has 20 over his career for 71 yards, and that's good for somewhere in the ballpark of 3.5 yards a carry. So 7 of those carries were first down. So I'm guessing, there were jet sweeps and things like that. But I think sky is the limit for somebody like Elijah Moore as long as his head's on straight. I don't know anything about his personal life or anything like that. So, I mean, I definitely would be okay with bringing somebody, especially 24, 25, onto the team.
Right. And that's for two of these guys anyway. That's kind of the point. So the next guy on my list, and to be honest, I don't think anybody was really thinking that this guy was going to be great coming out of the draft, but Jeff Okudah.
Okay.
I think for the dollar amount, and I'm trying to find his market value right now, but for here
I'll
it
look
is.
while you do it. Okay.
He's 26. Okay, he is. Let me see, where do I have this at? So he's 26. He's 6'1", 205. Okay, so bigger corner. Can you grab his 40 time when you get a chance?
Yeah.
Bigger corner. Not
448.
okay. So he's athletic enough. He's I would put him slightly above Trey White in terms of athleticism.
41 inch vertical. You got the hip burst. Yeah, he's there.
Right. So when you're looking at a guy that can come in and be a lot like Trey White, this is that style of player where he can do both pretty well in terms of man coverage and zone coverage. And he's not going to be, super elite, or he might not become an all-pro, but in our defense with our scheme, with a good pass rush, he could absolutely be that. He was with Houston last year, and I think one of the reasons that he didn't play as a starter in Houston is because freaking Kwame Lassiter is that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was only in Houston for 1 year, and now he's a free agent. So all of this is to say, the players that I'm giving you are guys who I believe were not in situations that utilized their skill set the way that they were supposed to, and players that could not benefit from being put in the right position to do what they do best. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Okudah to me is one of those corners that would really do well in a system that is now becoming a good mix of man and zone, but it's very helpful to defensive backs in terms of the way that the design of the defense works, right? And I think that would be a huge benefit for that guy. So when you're looking at Jeff Okudah and you're saying, okay, well, what's his value? 2 years, $10 million, $5 million a year. That is not bad for what is probably going to be your number 2 corner. If you don't find a guy to draft that can come in and snatch that number 1 corner spot, right? So let's just say the Bills plan on going into next year saying Christian Benford is our number 1. We need a number 2. If we don't get one in the draft, this is the guy. This is a guy that can come in for a low dollar amount. Listen, 2 years, $10 million, perfect. It's a prove it deal.
Yeah, I would double down on what you said by saying you get a Jeff Okudah now at 2 years, $10 million, 5 per. Worst case scenario, he's your number 2. Christian Benford, if he has another good year, he's going to be out of here anyway.
Yep.
$17 million is too steep for me in a singular role as a zone cornerback. I can't pay that kind of money for that. So you're looking at him being out the door anyway. So yeah, Jeff Okudah, and you definitely still need to get a blue chip cornerback on this one. So I don't think that cornerback. I think the best thing you could do is have him sit behind or rotate with one of these guys. Benford does get hurt a fair amount, so that'd be your fast track for your rookie to get in there with a Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point because of the fact that and they just fired their strength guy, didn't they? The Bills.
Yeah, I'll talk about that later too.
Okay. All right. So, with stuff like that creeping up on us, it kind of does make it very important to make sure, like you've said several times, and this is absolutely right, the Bills need to start developing a pipeline for these positions. We can't keep going into every season with, and I get why the Bills say that every year it's a new team, but that's only supposed to be a mindset in terms of forgetting what happened last year. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's not supposed to be, excuse me, every single season, most of your team is all brand new. You know what I'm saying? Or most of your team wasn't a starter the year before. You know what I mean? Like that should not be the mentality going in. Even from a salary cap position, I still would not welcome that kind of thought process from my team. All right, last but not least. Shoot, I probably should have did this. Okay. Last but not least, Justin Simmons. I mean, I think the name speaks for itself, but you got a guy he's 31, he's older, but every other safety in free agency right now that is worth a damn is expensive. The guy that I really want is Travion Moehrig from the Raiders. Good safety.
You ain't getting him.
No.
Well, you could, but
Not for $15 million.
you could.
His market value is $15 million right now.
You could.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
but again, and this is why I didn't list him as a guy for this list, because technically the contract is not cost effective if you're going to go get Myles Garrett.
Well, he don't fit. He doesn't fit the narrative of what you said, but that's fine because I got one that doesn't fit your rubric either. So,
So all of these moves that I'm suggesting would be moves that would work with the Bills going out and trading for a pass rusher, whether that's signing Sweat or trading for Max Crosby or trading for Myles Garrett or whoever, right? These are moves where if you do that, you can still sign 2 or 3 guys in free agency that would, fit on this team and play well, and you wouldn't miss the guy that used to be there. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't anyway. I wouldn't anyway. If we're talking about safety, I don't care.
You was not lying when you was talking about people about to be throwing stuff at you today.
But I think I'm safe on the safeties. I think I'm safe on the. See,
Okay.
people don't like Hamlin, which is fine. I like Hamlin. I don't need him to be a starter. Do I think he's a good starter? You could do worse. But the sticking point is Rapp. That's the one I'm like, I don't need Rapp because I feel like he's along the same line. They boost him up as this guy that's something, but I haven't seen jack-ish from this dude yet. That makes me say, oh, he's definitely the number one safety.
Right.
I haven't seen it. Maybe somebody can open my eyes, maybe context for him backwards. I don't know.
Yeah. So Justin Simmons, his market value right now is right at about $5.8 million, which for a guy like that playing in a system like ours, it would work. When you think about where Jordan Poyer was at year 30 and year 31, he was still pretty good. You only need this guy for one season just to hold the place until you're in a position to draft a safety the following year. You got a guy that can come in, be a good veteran presence next to a Cole Bishop, and I think Cole Bishop should be the starter next year. I don't think that guy is Taylor Rapp. I don't. I agree 100% with what you're saying. Taylor Rapp is not the kind of guy that I'll put it like this. You won't be able to dial up plays where Cole Bishop is playing in the box. Both of them will have to split the field every single down in order for both of them to be effective, right? With a guy like Justin Simmons, he's a deep third safety, right? And even at this age, he's still athletic enough in our system to be a playmaker at safety, right? So I would take it for 1 year. 1 year, $5.8 million. You get your veteran next to Cole Bishop. Now you got your veteran in the locker room, a guy who's a playmaker that can teach Cole Bishop how to be a deep third safety with his athleticism and teach him that aspect of the game. I mean, Micah Hyde's retired. I don't know if he's gonna come back as a coach or what, but that part of our team is that part of our history is done. You know what I'm saying? So this would be a guy that can fill both roles. He's a starter and he's your vet that can teach the youngins. All right, that is it. What do you guys think? I mean,
I feel like I've been shown up because I don't have the breakdowns like you do for this exercise. But I got people.
You're not a free agent guy though. Like,
well, I mean, I am, but my thing is I had a long meeting today. I had a very long meeting.
This meeting.
Then I went to the dude. You should see my car. Wait till you see what my car looks like. I scraped out just enough so I could see out the window. Cop pulled up next to me. I clenched up, man. Got real tight. Like it's gonna be the day. He gonna grab me up.
Cop pulled up here.
Man, he gonna grab me and hold me, man. I'm like, yo, hey, I'm about to be real late for the show now because I got some red and blue lights behind me.
You was stanking up the car on the way here,
man. Then I went to the gym and I'm like, yo, I'm tired of these dudes with these pectoralis majors, man. I'm in here trying my best. I'm getting implants or something.
Pectoralis majors.
I must be doing something wrong because I'm getting implants. This is crazy. I feel like less than. Anyway,
so Jack, welcome to the show. I think you've been here before. I don't need to introduce you to everybody.
So if he hasn't, I mean, we still cool though.
Right.
We acquainted now.
Yeah, no doubt. He says, I don't trust this organization to draft D-line and defensive end. The sample size is bad.
Jack must be new because he ain't heard me talk evidently because
Yeah.
He don't. Well, I have no choice.
Well,
I don't trust. You know what? I don't trust him to draft him, and I don't trust him to get free agents either.
And that's really the tough part because I think when you look at last year, it was heavy wide receiver. We didn't need to try to find a good wide receiver. Mm-hmm. We just had to pick one of the ones in the first round, and we would have been straight, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of doing that, they found a way to not do it, and they picked the worst one of the bunch. And no disrespect to Keon Coleman. I like him. I like his mentality. I like his athleticism. We'll see what happens next season when he comes back and he's had a full off season to really work on his craft and get better.
Well, I mean, the problem with Keon Coleman, I think I said in the last show or 2 shows ago that what people are expecting from him is just not going to happen.
I agree.
You know, I was listening to Locked On before I came in. Yeah, I plug other podcasts. I'm good with that. Plug us on theirs too as well if you want. But, you know, Joe Marino said something I had to jot down, and I hope I got to it. Okay, so Joe Marino basically said that Keon Coleman wasn't used to he can't be the next. Okay, he's nice. He helps the team. He has to be a force. But what about this college tape told you he was ever going to be a force? What did you see that he was ever going to be a full field dog? We got him as a red zone guy. We listened to Brandon Beane tell us how he was an X, but we knew in our heart of hearts that this guy was a red zone high point threat. Mm-hmm. The jump ball threat, you know, and they're talking about how he fell off during the season. And I talked about this already. His numbers fell off, but why? Because he was averaging 19.7 yards of reception in the first. He said, Joe Marino goes on to say, he was right up there with Neighbors. He was up there with McConkey. He was up there with BTJ. He was up there with, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't up there with none of them.
Right.
He had big catches.
Yep.
But for you to be up there with them, those guys worked the whole field.
Exactly.
They worked intermediate. They worked short. They worked behind the line. They worked deep. He worked deep. But then when they took that away, what happened? What you saw after the injury. The injury, this is what we did with Trent Edwards. After the injury, he was just different. He was cooked. No. Teams figured it out. They said, you know what? I know what he can't do, and let's take that away. Now, we're going to get beat at certain times, but at the same time, what did I say when I really broke down the tape? I said, Keon Coleman over the middle when the play breaks down is always open. And what did Josh start doing? Throwing the ball over the middle because he's always open. Play breakdown, he knows how to come to the ball. That's something Dawson Knox was good at. That's something that Dalton Kincaid has to learn.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir, he's a maven at it. There you go. I used another big time word. Who was it that said I use a rubric? Nate. He said key using rubric in a sentence. You're right. I'll be reading.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you know the thing is, when you look at how we typecast these players, we listen to what our front office says too much, and we got to peel back on that a little bit. You know, even if you watch highlights after we draft, I don't need people to know about every draft pick. That's what you can come to me for. We'll talk about it.
Right.
I don't need people to have an astute assumption and scouting report on everybody. But when you watch the highlights after we draft them, tell me what you see. Because if it's not what you see on the field when they're a Bill, we'll talk about it. But I bet you when you watch Keon Coleman, you're going to see the same thing you saw at Florida State as you see here.
Yeah.
And this is what he is. And it's fine. I've said it over and over again. I didn't say Keon Coleman sucks. I said he's not what you think he is.
Right. So the tough part for Keon is he flashed a lot of athleticism and strength and you know pop on a college field, but it is very different for a receiver like that to come into the NFL where everybody is faster than you. Mm-hmm. Everybody, unless you're coming in like Xavier Worthy, and even Xavier Worthy had to realize I'm not as fast as I was in college
Right,
around
I'm not
these
blowing
boys.
by everybody. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a very different world for Keon to step into. And then or I'm sorry, the B aspect of that is, oh, by the way, you're going to play primarily outside, and you got to beat these top NFL corners one-on-one when they're playing man coverage on you, because they don't care anything at all about, what you might do. Right, they're more concerned about covering the seam routes with the tight ends. Like, they're more scared of our tight ends who barely get the ball than our wide receivers.
Yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that number 14 that we had, he's gone. So there's nobody to take the vision off of you.
Exactly.
We have Mac Hollins over there. Don't worry about that. You'll be fine. It's all you. Go out there, buddy.
Right. And then, as you said, we want to get up on the podium and talk about how disappointed in Keon Coleman we are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why?
That's crazy.
I don't understand.
Be
that.
disappointed in yourself.
Yeah. Doyle says Shakir can line up everywhere.
He can.
He should.
He can. I think what it is though is the fact that he's so effective in the slot they don't want to move him out. But he can. He absolutely do it. Absolutely do it. But I know you're mad. But this is the reason why I say that. Not mad at me, but this is the reason why I say that. Who else they don't put in the slot?
Samuel.
He was hurt half the season, so now you got to start. But see, now maybe you can do that. Yeah, now you might be able to do that. But if you're gonna put Shakir outside, you got to have somebody in the slot that's actually good at it. And maybe now Samuel can do it. Why not James Cook? Why didn't you try that? I don't know. Maybe because he's a receiving running back. Whatever.
I would contend that Keon Coleman is Dalton Kincaid. I mean, Dalton Kincaid is probably a better route runner, but because he's so slow, it's the same as Keon Coleman. you know what I'm saying? It might as well be the same dude.
Yep.
So look, there is something to be said about getting big physical pass catchers that are dominant at the point of attack, right? But if you're running an offense that is built around efficiency, guess what? Those big physical dudes that are strong and great at the point of attack, they don't get to flash that because your passes are not designed to exploit that or to prop that up at all.
Dawson Knox.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why, and not saying that Shakir would have been, worse in a different system or not as good as he is in a different system, but that's why he's flourished so much so fast. He's in a system that's designed around efficiency. Well, guess what? He's one of the he's one of, if not the most efficient wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Yep.
It's a no-brainer. So essentially, what you're saying is we're gonna design an offense around our slot receiver.
Yeah.
We don't want him to be our number one. No. Everybody eats.
Right.
But Shakir is gonna be the guy.
Yeah. And we're gonna underutilize him too.
Right. On top of that, he only gets 800 yards.
Right. He gets 800 yards. He gets like 8 targets a game when he's your number. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. I just need. And again, all of this is seeking understanding of moves and things that we see that don't make sense. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's very hard for me to understand the bigger picture of all these moves when they all still add up to a loss in the AFC Championship game. That's the part that's killing me in all this. It's like, okay, you know what? When we hired Doug Marrone, heck, when we hired Dick Duran, when we hired Chan Gailey, when we hired all these coaches, Rex Ryan, you and I, we used to have this thing where we would go and look them up and see what they've done, and we would both be shaking our heads, and we both be like, "What? Why is he here?
Right,
why this guy?
Why?
Right?" Mm-hmm. But what did we say after that? The first thing we said was, "We're gonna have to see what he does.
Yeah.
He could turn out to be good. He could not.
Yeah.
Right? Let's see what he does."
I remember distinctly. I was at the BAC. That's how long ago this was. And I was doing something, and I got a text from you that said, "Chan freaking Gailey." I'm like, Who the hell is that? Let me look this up. So I'm looking up on the machine. Chan Gailey, all right.
Yeah, this old round curmudgeon looking dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Like some out of a 1950 sitcom.
Oh, my gosh. If he wasn't so good offensively, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, he was excellent. He didn't know anything about defense.
Oh, and that was heartbreaking because
That's
to
what
me,
hurt.
he was the best. He was the best mind of all these coaches that we've seen here.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna jot that down because that goes into something I was gonna say later too.
All right, cool.
Go ahead.
So, but the point of me bringing that up is we've looked at all these coaches from the perspective of, okay, we don't understand it, but let's give it a chance, right? And then I think right around year 4, most coaches didn't make it to year 4, but right around year 3, we were like, something is off. This guy can't figure this one thing out, right? And that became a trend for 20 years. Sorry about that. So,
Yes.
what?
I don't know. Yes, Lord.
I know it's not the Wi-Fi. It's definitely not the Wi-Fi.
The McDonald's Wi-Fi is excellent, just like their coffee. Leave us alone. Look at the comment. Just in the comments.
No, I know. I saw
okay.
that. I'm just like, you came in McDonald's coffee like that? Like
Their coffee was excellent. For $1?
You picked up the right shaker over there today. You picked up the right shaker.
No, man, their coffee was excellent for $1.
No, bro, you came with so much salt today.
I used to drink it. I used to love it.
Did you really?
Oh, McDonald's for $1? You know I'm cheap. Tired and cheap? Man, you can't beat that $1.
So the $1 was like the icing on the cake.
Absolutely. Let me get I can get a large too. Let me get that for $1. You said it's $1.09, right? Okay. Okay.
Oh my gosh. All right. So the point I'm trying to get to is we're at we have to be at a crossroads now. And I understand the new build, the transition year, and all that kind of stuff. But when you listen to what everybody is talking about right now, and I mean everybody's looking for the singular piece that we need to push this team over the top. And I don't know. I mean, the singular piece to me sounds like it should be some form of a coach. Right? Whether it's you go out and get a veteran guru DC like a Vic Fangio when he was available, or you find a way to empower Joe Brady like you've never empowered him before. And I mean in terms of players, let him run his scheme, whatever he needs, right? But
Billy D said him.
Huh?
Billy D said him. He said pick him.
Listen, whatever it takes, bro. Whatever it takes, if that means giving you the job, letting you pick your players, your skill, whatever.
I want to hear him do the cadence in the headset. All right, Josh, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and run our forward trips rights, double back left.
Oh, baby.
On 3, code 45, baby.
Ready? Code 45.
Right. Code 45. Code 45.
All this free advertisement.
Dude.
The brand is single-handedly brought back by the Buffalo Bills.
By the Buffalo Bills and that one weird kid over there. Well, I ain't no kid no more, but, you get the point. That keeps talking about Colt 45. I don't know if you can even find those anymore.
Probably not.
But, yeah, no, you're right. I do have a list, though. I do have a list. I'm going to have to piece this together for you, but.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Believe it or not, my biggest move, and this is my pie in the sky move. I'm not going to get Myles Garrett. I'm not going to get Max Crosby. No.
Who you trading for?
I'm going to sign T. Higgins.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to sign T. Higgins.
For $25 million? That's his
I
market
can make
value.
it work.
You can make it work?
I can make it work.
How?
Just all you got to do is you got to extend a couple people. Khalil Shakir. You have to do something with Von Miller's contract.
Uh-huh.
I haven't looked at it yet, but I can tell you I can make it work. You can extend Josh Allen. You could definitely extend Josh. That'll get you a lot of money.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who else is there. I don't
Roughly how much you think that? Because his cap number right now was 44 this year. Or I'm sorry, going into.
If you extend, you could do. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I think you can do another base restructure if you add on more years on the back end. So that'll get you $20 million. Let's see. The offensive line, I'm not touching. You got to draft good on the back end on the defense. So
Josh's cap number next year is $63.9 million.
You have to do some. I got to do some playing around. But I literally thought about this while I was in the gym. I would acquiesce to T. Higgins.
Okay.
That would give Josh what he likes. Obviously, he likes a big receiver in Keon Coleman. T. Higgins works every level of the field. He's a deep threat. He's physical. Mm-hmm. He can run the drags. He can run the comebacks. He's a good route runner, good hands. He has that demeanor about him that you want in a receiver, a F it, give me the ball kind of thing.
Wait. Are you sure that's what we want? Because we just kicked Diggs out of the house.
What we want.
You and I?
I'll get to it in a moment. That's part of what I wanted to get to.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I think that would be the big move I would make. I would definitely do what I have to do to get T. Higgins. I would obviously.
I love powering up the offense.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and in doing so, I'm also powering up the defense. But I trust.
True.
Guys to
get a lead, make it easy for them boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my number one guy, I think I would go with. What was that?
Really quick, T. Higgins. Numbers. These are the guys he's compared to statistically: Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and A.J. Brown.
So we're gonna say no then?
I don't.
How can you say no?
I don't see how you could.
I mean, that's the thing. How can you say no? Somebody with decent breakaway speed. You're talking about. I think you're like a 4 or 5 or something like that. 4 or 5, 5 somewhere in there. But what is he? 6'3"?
6'4".
6'4"?
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. 6'4", Twin Towers with Josh Allen, and picture an offense even with James Cook for even 1 year with those two guys on the outside, Dalton Kincaid and tight end. The offensive line we already know about. Ray Davis coming back for a second. Who's stopping that?
Yeah.
Who's stopping? I mean, let's go. If you're talking about bargain bin, obviously this is my rationale. I didn't really pick any wide receivers. Why? Because. Well, I think you can draft one if you really want another one. You can get Matt Collins back. T. Higgins was my pie in the sky guy. Okay. And defensive line, this is a deep draft, especially D tackle. You can go get Deion Walker from Kentucky. You can go get Alfred Collins from Texas. So I'm not really worried about that big body guy. There's a couple of them in this draft, and the Bills would be wise to grab one. You could do some with Ed Oliver's contract if you really wanted to, But even more than that, you're looking at a team, as we said in the chat already, that Kevin Harris said with your chest. Oh yeah, the chest that I don't have. Anyway, but no, the thing about it, the way I look at this is if you're trying to shift the paradigm. I was talking to my friend earlier that always busts my chops about everything Bills related, whether he's serious or not, and. He said, when you go on the show today, I want you to tell me what we should do about Cook. I said, okay, we'll double down on that later. I said, but let's talk about what are we going to do on the defensive side? Because he said we need to trade Cook for Garrett and whatever. Mm-hmm. Would you do it? I said, that's fine, but we talked about it. The reason why the Bills get chopped up is because the quarterbacks throw the ball fast.
Right.
Why they throw the ball fast? Because we don't have any in the back 4, back 5.
That's right.
And so Myles Garrett is cute. It's real cute. But guess what? I don't care if you think he's the Flash. The quarterback's getting the ball out in 2 seconds. He ain't gonna be able to do as much. Von Miller was on pace for 8.5. He had 8.5 sacks in 8 games before he got hurt his first year. How are we doing? Were we undefeated? Was our defense impenetrable? No.
Yeah.
So Myles Garrett is an upgrade, yes, but that's not the upgrade we need immediately, unless you fix the back five. So what I propose is ball hawk safeties. I like a lot of people that nobody's gonna know. So I got to piece this together. Julian Blackmon.
Yep. Like
from
him.
Indy. Julian Blackmon. Let me look and see what his stats are. I don't have them, but I will.
He was actually in my consideration for the list until I saw what his market value was.
Well, yeah. Julian Blackmon right now is 26 years old. 5 years in the league. He has 10 interceptions. So he didn't have any in 2021. He had 4 in 2023 and 3 in 2024. Now, the reason why I don't really look at their market values as much because somebody I really wanted last year, Cameron Curl, his market value was really high as well. Mm-hmm. And what did he get? Nowhere near what he thought he was getting. Now, what did you see as his market value? I didn't even look at it.
$8 million annual salary.
Oh, okay. So, $8 million annual salary. That's doable if you finagle the incentives and things like that. Mm-hmm. So now you're talking about $5 million. So that's in the range of your Simmons. Now you got a guy that's 26 years old, up and comer. Secondly, I had Javon Holland.
You gonna pay for that dude? $15.1 million.
Javon Holland. I mean, yeah,
he's good.
That's what I'm saying. He's good. But I had, Javon Holland. These are guys that if you want to make an investment, this is the stuff you got to do.
Yeah, I agree. And look, if you and I were running the team, these are absolutely the moves that we make because when the defense was great, we had great safeties. So we already know what Sean can do with great safeties, right? All the disguising, all that stuff. Definitely invest the money in these guys because you're talking about what, $25 million between the two players. Yep. You were talking about giving Myles Garrett at least $25 million if you extend him. Yep. And for what? Yep. For one player that isn't gonna have the impact that we think because everything else behind him is not designed to help him. Yep. Not right now.
Yep. And that's the downfall.
Right.
So when I say I don't want Garrett, I don't want Crosby, it's not because I'm just a hater. It's just because I know $35 million for one guy that's really not gonna amount to much in the grand scheme. Right. And then he comes in above. You reminds me of, you ever seen the movie Little Giants?
Yes.
Remember Spike?
No.
The oversized kid that played for the Cowboys. That okay. Rick Moranis wanted and tried to be his brother to get, and they found out when Spike got to the Giants and saw that little team, he was like, who's my fullback? And Icebox comes out. He's like, are my eyes deceiving me? Is Spike's lead blocker a girl? See, that's how Myles Garrett comes to Buffalo, and that's what he sees. He's like,
my one tech, a girl?
He's like, right. He's like, why are your D tackles smaller than me?
Yeah.
What is this? I mean, he knows and he talks about Josh. See, that's the misconception. People always talk about, well, yeah, because we got Josh. They all say this stuff. Now, if Baltimore was a leading factor, they showed interest, they'd be like, yo, Lamar Jackson, I would love to play with him. Oh, wow. Brock Purdy, I'd love to. No, don't listen to that because money, cha-ching, it talks. That's what talks. These guys, Myles Garrett can go to 30 other teams because that's not Cleveland, that's not us. He can go to any other team he wants, and they'll be like, we'll figure it out, Yep. So when people say, oh, because it doesn't work that way, as a fan, that's your quarterback. That's our quarterback. That's the guy we root for. That's the guy we're like, yo, he's good. He's MVP. Yeah. But Myles Garrett, put your mind in his body. If you can, if his body can fit your mind, it's kind of massive. So
okay.
But my thing is, what Myles Garrett? You might remember Turtles back in the '80s.
Yes.
Krang. Your brain is Krang.
Oh,
in that big body.
Yes, bro. That's so right. That is so right. Oh. If Krang's body was black, that is exactly what we're talking about right now. That is it. Good job. Good job.
Well, yeah, that's Crane. But no, you know what I mean? I'm thinking like, okay, so you go get, you said, okay, so Max Crosby we'll say we can get him for 22 mil.
Okay.
And you can get Javon Holland for 13 mil, we'll say. That's better for a $35 million investment than what you're paying for Myles Garrett. Not because he's not good, because you get two players of a higher stature for one. And that's kind of what you need. You need somebody on the back end that strikes fear. You need somebody that the quarterback's watching while Myles Garrett comes and eats him. You need somebody that the quarterback is watching Myles Garrett and he just throws the ball and they're going to go get it. We don't have that. Taylor Rapp's not going to get it.
Right.
Cole Bishop is not going to get. Well, we haven't seen it yet. I mean, when Damar Hamlin, I think he was the leading interceptor amongst our safeties. That's a problem.
Yep.
We need somebody that's a threat to go get it.
Yeah, I agree. When you hear the pros talk about and you hear GMs talk about building a team, they talk about building a defense in particular from the middle out, which means your defensive tackles, your linebackers, and your safeties. Yep. If the spine of your defense is strong, and this has been proven,
you good to go.
You are good to go. You are going to have a very successful defense. When the Bills had a good spine, they were an elite defense. Mm-hmm. Now, that was 2 years ago. You know what I mean? But that's what it is. So, look, as much as I would love to be able to, to be honest, I prefer Max Crosby. Mm-hmm. I like where he is age-wise, and I like his demeanor. I don't know much about Myles Garrett, but I know he's a beast, and I would love being able to say I have the best pass rusher in the league on my team. But I've already seen what that looks like when we had Mario Williams.
I was going to say.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I don't need to relive that and not saying that this is all just plain out revisionist history, but I do think the NFL and sports in general, one of the reasons why history plays such a big role is because the teams rely so heavily on it. When they're looking at how they want to build their team or the players they pick, what do they rely on? They rely on stuff that they've seen in other players that made them successful. That's how they gauge other new players. Yep. They don't have a criteria that they built just from scratch. No, they looked at the Walter Paytons of the world and the Bruce Smiths of the world and the Thurman Thomases of the world and whatever else, the Randy Mosses of the world, and they say these elite traits equal success on the field. Mm-hmm. Right? And what I'm expecting my team to do is look at the successful defenses of NFL history and say, okay, what was great about those teams? Well, they had this, and this, and the scheme fit the players perfectly, right? Elite talent plus great scheme equals all-time great defense. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
That's what we saw with Vic Fangio. Great defensive mind, great defensive players, destroyed perhaps the best team of this era. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to poo-poo on anybody's thoughts of rooting for this team to go get Myles Garrett, but I do want to be very realistic about how much of the salary cap that's going to chew up. Yeah. I mean, again, the reason that Josh Allen's cap hit next year is $63 million is because that's part of the $258 million deal. Right. In fact, that is the only season in which he makes $60 million. After that, it's like 58 or something like that he goes down to. So
right now.
Yeah, right, exactly. So if they extend him to open up some more money, it works for this season, but you're still essentially kicking the can down the road with that. Because when you extend a guy, all you're doing is you're giving him a new contract that keeps him here beyond the years of his original contract. But it still builds in the same way that this contract built up to $63 million. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So we have to, and this is why I think we're putting so much importance on building through the draft and being smart with free agency and getting young guys that are going to be here a while, so we don't have to keep doing 1-year deals and all this kind of merry-go-round stuff that we're doing with these positions now. Yep. So I mean, look.
Yeah, I would definitely take a Max Crosby. I mean, you figure would he fit with what McDermott's trying to do? That's the gotcha. Because I know Max Crosby can be his own kind of man. He can be not a head case, but he's not the most culture guy. If, people say, oh, he hates the Chiefs. I don't give a damn about the Chiefs. I give a damn about the other 30 teams in the league. What about the Bengals? What about the Ravens? What about, because we can't just sit on our laurels and say we're going to beat these teams every time we play them. We haven't shown that we could beat the Bengals yet. Last time we played the Bengals, they dog walked us. Last time, the time before that, they were about to dog walk us. So, we can't be as arrogant as to say, to hell with the rest of the league. We're only on this one team. We gotta focus on everybody, because this is just the AFC. What about the NFC?
Right.
You got to worry about the Eagles, and you got to worry about those kind of squads that we don't have to play all the time. And now you're going to have to. And where do you stack up? The team we had last year doesn't stack up very well against them. Even though people think offensively we did, defensively, no. Saquon Barkley and stuff like that. Oh, I mean that's a different animal altogether. I think another name that I have, and this is going to be a pricey one as well, but like I said, with Max Crosby, it could work. Talanoa Hufanga from San Francisco. Let's see. He has 4 years of experience. In that 4-year span, he has 37 starts, 7 interceptions, 1 interception for a touchdown, 14 passes defense, 2 fumbles forced, 219 tackles. So I think this is somebody that could help out if you make his numbers work. 26 years old, 6 feet, 200 pounds. One Pro Bowl already, 1-time All-Pro.
Definitely that box Palomalu type.
Yeah.
Like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he flies around, and he, these are, if you notice the trend here, all these guys are ball hawks. These are guys that will take the ball from if you throw it in their direction. And I like that. Hufanga, I think he had a little bit of an injury concern last year. He only played 7 games and 10 games the year before that. But previous to that, he played in 15 games his rookie year and 17 of 17 starts in his second. So that would be somebody I would look at, because I'm looking at somebody that could be like a Jordan Poyer, somebody, a Micah Hyde, that you're like, who's that? But then you find out who they are when they come to Buffalo under Sean McDermott. All you need is somebody that has the traits. I don't see the traits in Rapp. I don't see the traits in Bishop to be that ball hawk. I didn't see it in DeMar Hamlin. Cam Lewis, fine, but you're a special teams guy. Right. So, if you don't give me Andrew Makuba, you don't give me Xavier Watts, you don't get me Illuminor or whatever, however I forgot to say his name.
Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah.
If you don't give me one of those 3 guys, you have to go to this route. This is the route you would. This is a soft landing. These are guys that can play football and guys that will boost your defense immediately. Obviously, I had, who does I have? Azeez Ojulari.
I wanted to ask you about him because I was looking at him as one of the options too. Very young pass rusher.
I was huge on him out of
really?
college. Huge on him out of college.
So he would almost have to be a stand-up guy though. Well, let me ask you this first: how is he against the run?
He's better against the pass, but he's fine. He's not somebody got to pull off the field when you're playing against the run.
Okay.
But he's like you said. But see, this is the kick to. I think Kevin said in the comments somewhere. Somebody mentioned Bruce Smith, and Kevin said that we used to play a 3-4, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But now you can still play something called a 40 front. Now the 40 front, that's a tweener. That's something that allows for that linebacker to come up in the box, or not in the box, on the line. Whereas before you were traditionally, I have to stand up back here. Mm-hmm. So that would allow for your free range of Von Miller kind of pass rush. So I would like Ojulari on the team. I believe. Let me look and see how old he is, because he's not. Obviously, all my guys are not that old. He's only been in the league 3 years. He's 6'3", 240, and 24 years old. He'll be 25 this season. Played in 30 out of 46. He started 30 out of 46 appearances. Sacks. He has 22 sacks in 4 seasons.
That's not bad.
That's very good. Considering he had 8 in his rookie year and 6 in his last year. Remind me again.
Was he hurt in 23?
Yeah, he was hurt in 23.
Okay.
And he actually got hurt. He missed a couple games last year. But remind me again, how many sacks did Greg Rousseau have last year? Was it 8.5?
Was it 8.5? I don't think it was that much.
Yeah, he had 8.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many did Epinesa have? Let me think about this. How many did Vaughn have?
It definitely wasn't.
5 and 6.
Yeah.
Non-respectively. So adding a guy like Azeez Ojulari on the team, let me get some of that. It's another guy that you can put in a rotation if you have to with Solomon. Keep them fresh. You want those guys to be able to beat that left tackle all day long. Yeah. And if they can come at it, if they can come at that left tackle on their designated routes or designated snaps, hey, more power to you.
Just looking for Ojulari's market value. Yeah. Okay, here he is. So, so 24 years old. So we're looking at 7.6 mil annual salary estimated value.
So there you go, 7.6 mil.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all for somebody that can come in and flourish.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the assistant defensive line coaches, assistant defensive coordinator. You got the assistant, the ultimate assistant on the team now.
So now is he bigger than Javon Solomon? Javon Solomon's like, what, 6'1"?
Solomon's shorter, but he's bigger.
Okay.
So Ojulari's taller and he's about 10 pounds lighter.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Solomon's
Solomon
about
is what?
6'1", 250.
Okay.
And Ojulari is 6'3", 240. So Ojulari is if you can get him to drop back in coverage, just that size, the athleticism he has, you could teach it to him, or you could use his size to your advantage in mass coverage. But you have to be creative.
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing about it. If you blitz, if you want to go ahead and send exotic stuff at the quarterback, this is the guy you want. This is the kind of player you need.
Yeah.
My last one, I know you said 3, but my last one was
a wild
card. Dyami Brown.
I knew it. I knew you were going to pick that dude.
Dyami Brown. Why'd you know I was going to pick him?
Because you always go for the obscure dudes, the dudes that nobody is thinking about at all ever.
Exactly. Actually, that's my first one. But then I was like, I got carried away with the rest of these because the way you posed it to me, I want your bargain basement ones. I'm like, cool, Dyami Brown, let me get him.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
4.45 speed, 6 feet, 195, deep threat. He's not blazing if you go by that, but at the same time, he has no other choice but to get deep and get open and catch touchdowns. Even in college. Now, what I did was I looked at Dyami Brown. What did we say our team's Achilles heel was? Getting deep, right?
Speed.
Yep. Do you know, if you look at Dyami Brown's receiving depth, which does not want to open up for some reason.
They're not going to like these names, though.
Huh?
So how do you say his name? Dyami
Brown?
I'm Spanish, so I'm going to say Dyami.
Go ahead.
So his market value is $1.9 million.
Yes, sir.
That is not bad at all.
Now, to double down on that, if you look at Pro Football Focus, they graded him a 95 in deep passes, 20 or more yards. That's insane. 95. He had 44% receiving over 20 yards. He had 57% receiving over 10 yards, between 10 and 19 yards. That went for 91.4 in Pro Football Focus as well. Now, what I want you to draw attention to is his college tape. Same thing. North Carolina, the same thing. He's a deep threat. And he's got good ball control, good body control. He's not a small guy at 195. So, you said 1.9 mil?
1.9 mil.
1.9 mil.
Right. For $2 million, you got a guy that can come in and start for you.
25 years old. You got a guy that you can put in the mix with Samuel. You got a guy you can put in with Keon Coleman, somebody that can alleviate the pressure from Khalil Shakir. What's not to like?
Technically, this guy would probably be a better fit than Elijah Moore because he's primarily a deep threat. You want a guy whose focus is pushing those safeties off of the line of scrimmage, pushing those safeties out of the box. You want them to have to respect the speed.
Yep.
But what else does that do? Well, that opens things up for your best route runner in Khalil Shakir. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about trying to win outside because now you're opening up space the way you're supposed to. See, how is it that this stuff makes sense to us, but we don't see these kind? You know what I'm saying? It's like the questions that come up. Like I have to ask why. Like why are we choosing to give up a 3rd round pick for Amari Cooper when you could have just not drafted Keon Coleman and went and got a guy that could be your Amari Cooper for 10 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and if that's because of cap space, well, then what was your plan for this year going into this year?
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I think, who asked? Was it? Oh, man. No bones. Does trading a 3rd round pick for Amari Cooper indicate that we may try to bring him back? No.
Right. No.
Because if you listen to them talk, if you listen to how Bean and McDermott talk, he didn't give him what they expected to get out of him when he came to Buffalo. I think
they said the Humi Brown.
I said, I knew you were going to say that. I think Amari Cooper at 15 mil or whatever his asking price is going to be. No, you don't bring him back. You go ahead and try to find another guy in the draft. Bring Diami Brown, Elijah Moore, somebody that T Higgins that can fulfill that role. I mean. Why wouldn't you? Why would you sink that kind of money in somebody that didn't separate from anybody when he was on the field, was hurt? He gave you, I think, what was it, 200 yards receiving for the season with us or whatever it was. So, I mean, the 3rd round, that was them trying to be aggressive. I get it because they made the money work. $860,000, why not? Bean's he's gonna use. Trust me, he's gonna get a 3rd round pick back. If he doesn't get that compensatory pick, mm-hmm. he's going to kick and scream like he did last year. Probably. Because he's betting he's going to get that pick.
Exactly.
Yep. So he's like, 3rd round, no problem. I can do it, which, whatever. But.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to forego T. Higgins if that meant that we would also forego Max Crosby and Myles Garrett and trade for DK Metcalf?
Oh, I mean, I think. Well, does Metcalf does he have a new contract?
I don't think so. I think he would need to be. Actually, no. I think he does.
Okay.
I think he does. Let me just check
DK
here.
Metcalf.
DK. All right, so he is.
No, this is the last year of his contract.
Yeah. So he would need a new contract. So his cap hit this season is going to be $31 million.
Yep, I couldn't do it.
30. Well, I mean, if you give him a new deal, you can spread that out.
You could spread it out, but he's 29. He's turning 29 this year.
So he's 27.
I got him. This is 28. Well, okay, this is 28 season. So.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, but I'm not looking at where they had the actual months, but
my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. I usually go to Pro Football References. I get to 321 days. You're like, yeah, but no. I mean that 31 mil. That's tough. And everybody eats off until I see for fact.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I could see Josh using him, but until I see for fact that he's going to use them. 31 mil is tough. T. Higgins, I could see him being a force because he works where everybody resides. He works everyone on the field, and I think I'd rather take the chance at 20 mil or 19 mil guarantee. We'll just say guarantee cap hit 2025 for T. Higgins, which is 4 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think I'd stay there.
Okay. I mean, again, I think the same rule still applies for T. Higgins too. I mean, you'd love to have a guy there like that.
Yeah.
But are you really going to use the dude? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to go back into next year with the same old everybody eats stuff? Look, a guy like T. Higgins ain't buying that.
No, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't. A real football player should not buy that.
I agree. Well, so okay, so let's say that the Bills deployed that mantra and they did it because Josh is comfortable just playing the offense and throwing to the open guy. Because that's what it sounds like was the genesis of the thought. Was, well, Josh likes to just play the offense. Diggs wanted the ball to come his way. That frustrated Josh. So we got Diggs out of there to free up things for Josh to just play free, play the offense, and make the right play. Right? It led to a more efficient offense. It led to a more productive offense. Josh Allen's numbers weren't as productive, but he won MVP. He was valued higher than anybody in the NFL because his turnovers went way down, right? All of that is cool, but what does that mean at the end of the day for this offense? What that means is you're drafting your receivers from here on out. Because if you and I'm sorry to say it this way, but like when you process everything that we've talked about, it really boils down to you're not going to be able to sell T. Higgins on coming here. You're not going to be able to sell any of these receivers. You're not like, think about talking to DK Metcalf on the phone and saying, look, hey, we love you, man. We want to trade for you.
Y'all eating over here, baby.
We're thinking about getting you over here. But here's the deal. Everybody eats.
Right.
DK going to be like, what that mean for me?
You're like, I don't eat. I eat candy. That's all I eat.
Like, what they got to do with
I
me?
ain't got nothing. Do I get another dangly earring? What do I get?
Right. Well, so for anybody that's listening to what I'm saying and saying, well, who cares if the receivers don't like it? Well, here's why the receivers like it. They like getting the ball because that adds up to numbers. Numbers adds up to bonuses. Bonuses, that's dollars in my pocket, right? So in the same way that Josh Allen got $1.5 million for winning MVP, I'm sure he cares about that now. You know what I'm saying? Just about every player on every NFL team cares about hitting those bonuses and incentives. And if they don't, the only choice they have at that point is to just respect it.
If Josh cares about that 1.5, I'm going to lose my mind.
Well, I'm saying this from the standpoint of every NFL player cares about the money.
Well, no, I know. But what I'm saying is if that 1.5 makes you happy when you're the 14th highest paid quarterback in the league.
No. From that perspective, I don't think he does.
He better not.
I don't think it does. But just in terms of, you know, hey, I got this award, and oh, by the way, I get $1.5 million on top of that, which is probably $1 million after taxes, maybe a little bit less. Yeah. Bone says DK is built like he eats a lot.
I was responding to Ted. He literally said he only eats candy after his first meal of the day. He don't eat nothing else but candy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And he looks like that?
He was talking to Yeah.
But it was like a chain.
Yeah, he said he's
I
like 3
despise
bags of
people
candy.
like that. I despise like you literally like you just destroying your body, but you can still walk around looking like an Adonis, bro.
Yeah, he eats 3 bags of candy, you said a day.
3 bro, shut up. Just shut up, DK. Shut up, DK.
Wait, hold on. You can't get mad at him because didn't Marshawn Lynch do that?
Huh?
Marshawn
Marshawn Lynch?
Lynch?
He ate the Skittles.
Yeah, right, all of them boys. Every last person that's like that, where they can just walk around and eat candy and just be diesel all they want. Like,
The man came out of his car and a whole bunch of candy just fell right out.
Yep.
You see that?
both of them, shut up.
You just shut up.
Both of them. Just shut up.
That's all right. It's all right, Marsha.
Maddening. Yeah. They're NFL
We didn't know
players.
about
They're
the
young.
Skittle addiction when he was here.
Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, it really says a lot about what the Bills are going to be able to get in terms of talent when that's what they are professing as their, mantra on offense. Now, they could change that this offseason and say, like they said in the end of the season pressers, we want to get more blue chippers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is that only on defense? Are you only saying that now because you got to get
devoid
back
of
up to
any
$100
talent?
million on defense?
Right. Yeah, and Roy, there's your answer. That's why I mentioned Diami Brown. Like you said, after 4 years of doing nothing, why? That's why. But see, the thing is, you got to remember too. Who was Mac Hollins before he came to Buffalo? Who was who are these players? Who was Jordan Poyer when he came to Buffalo? Poyer told you that. He's like, I was almost out the league.
Yeah.
And went to Pro Bowl. It just, you have to fall into the right situation.
Right.
And this could be or could not be. And at $1.7 million, I'll take that chance.
Yeah. But here's what I need the fans to answer. Here's what I need the fans to answer. We were one play short of winning the AFC Championship game this season. Right? One play short. Who did the pass go to?
Kincaid.
Dalton Kincaid, first round pick, supposed to be a playmaker at tight end. Right? He didn't make the play. I get it was a hard play to make, but looking at it from the back angle where he kind of stops and has to come and lean back, I think more of that for him was nerves than a lack of athleticism and ability. You know what I'm saying? If you're poised in that situation and you're running full speed as an NFL player, he wasn't that far from where the ball came down. He had enough time to get his legs up under him and get in a better position to catch that ball. I think he panicked because of the situation and just dove.
You know what? I can understand that. I don't think he panicked, but you got to look at everything that happened the whole season. That happened every time they tried something like that.
That's
true.
That's
the thing. Like, it clearly doesn't work with this dude.
Right.
So like I said 3 shows ago, give him what works over the middle between 10 and 19 yards. That's where his sweet spot is. That's what got him to the pros. Why deviate? Because we're going to make him a downfield threat.
Yep.
He has a skill set of not. Let him work where he's supposed to work.
Yep.
And I wanted to get to this real fast.
Real quick before you get there, because I wanted to finish my point. So
I'm sorry.
This is what I want everybody in the chat to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the Buffalo Bills can get over the hump with no real number one? Because that's really what we're talking about. Like, Amari Cooper wasn't a number one.
Mm-mm.
He wasn't. He came in, he made a few plays here and there because he was a name, but once people saw we didn't really have to worry about him, the team stopped putting him on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys really think that the Bills can win without a number one receiver? The way we played all season long, the way we got to, the AFC Championship game, do we win the AFC Championship game with no number one receiver? And do we win a Super Bowl without a number one receiver? Because that's the next step that we're all trying to get to, right? And we just saw what happened with the Chiefs not having a number one receiver on the field and having to play the Eagles. They're going to be there for a minute. That defense ain't going nowhere. The offense, it's probably going to take another 2 years for them to start having to miss some pieces because of the salary cap. But they're still very much on par youth-wise and cap situation-wise because they've drafted extremely well. They're going to be there. And there's other teams in the NFC coming up, too, that now have quarterbacks. So it's not just the AFC Championship game anymore. Do you guys think the Bills can win it without a number one receiver? Let me see it in the chat.
Most people said no. One person said yes. So,
okay.
And I don't know if that yes is because it's a perceived number one somewhere on the team, which is fine. But I liken it to no. And I wanted to get into something. I don't know if you guys watch Talking Buffalo podcast. I actually was listening to it when I was in the shower last night. It really wasn't relevant to the conversation, but I just thought I'd throw it in there anyway. But he referenced in a podcast of Tyler Dunn's with Jim Manos on there. For those who don't remember Jim Manos, he was with us from 2013 to 2017. Mm-hmm. So that was under Willie and Nix. Before that, he was an area scout for the Saints from 2005 to 13 in Philadelphia from 2000 to 2004. He was fired with Willie after the 2017 draft, so he was here for who was that? That would have been Tre'Davious White and all them. Manos said, scout. So this goes back to, I think Tyler Dunn asked Manos about Xavier Worthy, and basically what happened, Worthy felt scorned by the Bills. He said he came to Buffalo. They loved him. He loved them. He said he hit it off with Joe Brady. He said, that's my guy. I love him. He said, I was talking to them. He got the message. If I was there at their pick, they were going to take me. He said, not only did they not take me, they traded that pick away. He said, so it lit a fire under me.
Wow.
So you got one guy who, and this is Jim Manos talking from are we still hearable? This is, Hello?
Yeah, we still got
Okay.
audio. Go ahead.
So this is Jim Manos talking about conversations he had with the Chiefs wide receiver coach. So the Chiefs wide receiver coach is talking to Xavier Worthy about this. And he goes on to say that the Chiefs coach was not only shocked the Bills didn't take Worthy, but he's shocked that the Bills traded with the Chiefs to get Worthy. He said this was important. He said that a bunch of teams refused to trade with the Chiefs in that draft.
Wow.
A bunch of teams because they were the Chiefs.
Wow.
They refused to trade with them, but the Bills did. Now I want to be full disclosure. You know, like I said, he was fired with Doug Willie. Is there an animosity? Who knows? He was fired by Sean McDermott. I don't think that really has much to do with what I'm relaying to you because this is all not public knowledge, but this is awesome. You can look up if you so choose. Let's see where Tyler Dunn mentioned that Bean. This is an hour. This actually was really good. This was an hour show that I watched earlier. Dunn mentioned the Bean comment where he said we had the ball late and couldn't get it done. Manos visibly looked disgusted. His face was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He said everything needs to be looked at with Bean. So he's putting it on Bean, not McDermott. He's saying it's on Bean, and he worked with McDermott, and he was fired. He was in that transition, so he did get the cross pass with Bean. He said Howie Rosen is not a football guy. We all just talked about Howie Rosen last show. Not a football guy at all. He said what he did though, he surrounded himself with a team of football guys and salary cap guys. So it wasn't Howie Roseman that made these decisions. It was his intellect putting a team together, which takes me back to what you said about Chan Gailey. He said that Howie Roseman's team was built with ex-GMs and ex-people that were higher uppers. So
wow,
we got rid of Doug Whaley. Doug Willie ended up working for like a food. He was a VP for like a food company or something like that for a while. Then went to the UFL and set and third. So he's in like a VP of XFL now. But if Willie wasn't good at GM, but we knew he was a good scout, did you guys try to bring him back at a lesser role? He has GM experience, whether we like it or not. He has the experience. Chan Gailey, he was a head coach. We saw his offensive mastermind. Did you try to bring him back when he went to Miami? Or did you just let him walk? What did you try to do behind the scenes to get these guys back that were in the organization? Yep. He goes on to say, let's see. He said Brandon Beane was never a scout. He was an operations type. He said Brandon Beane is very good with cap numbers. That's his thing, cap, not scouting. He said.
That makes a lot of sense now.
Yep. He said that he has the team exactly how the ownership should want it. Having Josh covers up a lot. Does Josh not see this? We talked about this. You know, you told me before this last season that we don't know what he's saying behind. But obviously, it's not enough. It's not enough because he goes on to say that you got to treat. And this is where I said I told you so because this is Jim Manos.
You got to send me this. I want to listen to this.
I will. This is Jim Manos saying you have to treat the first and second rounds with respect, with the respect that they deserve. Yep. He said that's where you find the exceptional talent, the athletes like Worthy. What did I say last show? You got to find your blue chippers in the first. You got to hit.
Yep.
He said you can find the big jump ball wide receivers in later round. The Coleman type would have been there in the fourth. Yep. This is Mono saying this. He's a scout. He said that's what Coleman is. The Chiefs wide receiver said Coleman's upside was Anquan Bolden. Mono said that's a bad comparison because Bolden actually had ball skills after the catch.
Yep.
He said the Bills are not thinking unlike every other team when in the league when they picked Rousseau and they traded for Vine. He said everybody does that, but guess what? Rousseau is not special. This is what Mono said. He's not special. He said those tall guys, those long, lean guys, they're there in the later rounds. Mm-hmm. He said he's not a game breaker. Ed Oliver, not a game breaker.
Yeah.
He said everybody. This was funny. He said everybody saw Aaron Donald. Said that's it. We got to get Ed Oliver because he's the same size as Aaron Donald. We'll make him. And man, you had me on suicide watch when we picked Ed Oliver, and I was like, we better not. They better, and they did. I was like, you mother. I almost pulled my car in Ellicott Creek.
Yeah, bro.
He said not only is that not a closer like Aaron Donald, but you extended him. Now,
oh yeah,
okay, that's fine, but now he has to be a cornerstone. He said we hit on Jerry Evans in the second round, and this is out in New Orleans. He said out of D2, how many guys have you seen since him?
The guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, since him, how many guys have you seen that were as good as him out of D2, D3? He said, name them. He said, they're an anomaly.
Yep.
And you can't try to carbon copy guys because they have a similar stature.
Yep.
But this is what the Bills do all the time.
Every time. They want to go to the small schools so that they can hit big on these nobody names and then they can seem like they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. And the thing is, we laud it because they have the lip service. They know how to sell it to you. And the Bills fans were so hungry for that for the Benny Butcher song to pop on again. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I like when the lights are. I like when the phones. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
You know, nothing pumps you up more. But the thing is, before that is this. You know, this is when you build your team. Now, when you can't talk to guys, you're still thinking about who am I going to contact? So who's his agent? Who represents this group of people? Let me see who I can talk to. So, you know, he said the point is when you strike gold, you appreciate it. You don't force and try to replicate it. Oh boy, what happened?
I'm gonna let you answer this one, bro. Spin says, what small school guys do we draft in the first 3 rounds?
What small school guys did we draft in what?
In the first 3 rounds.
The first 3 rounds? Okay.
The Key got a whole spreadsheet for this stuff, so I'm gonna just let him answer this question.
Okay. I mean,
I already know.
Let's see. You want to? What do you count? Because I know that we're not going to count any of these as small schools, but let's see. Wow, Baylor's a real powerhouse. Wow, Tulane's a real powerhouse.
Dorian
Utah,
Williams.
first round draft pick. That's a real powerhouse of tight ends.
Yep.
Wow, Dwayne Carter, Duke, Utah again, Florida State. I mean, Florida State's iffy depending on where you get what player you take.
True.
You know, Kentucky. You're talking about where are your Alabamas. Where are your Tennessees?
Where's your Georgias?
Where your top Georgias? It's not James Cook.
Right.
I mean, this is what these are the small schools, small positions we're talking about. You got Javon Solomon from Troy. Yeah, that's a 5th rounder. You got. I mean, this is the mind state. Boise for Khalil Shakir. These are the mind state. We can go through and see who was there after the fact.
Spencer Brown was out of Northern Iowa.
He didn't even play 11-on-11 football his last year at college. It was 7-on-7.
What?
Yeah. Because he turned down the right. He got offers to go to another college to play his last because it was a COVID year.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to leave. So he stayed at Northern Iowa and pretty much for went his last season at Northern Iowa. So when we got him, he was super raw. Super duper raw. All he was a locker room specimen. So what you see now is not what we should have had right now. That's why he's a testament. That's why he was my favorite player in that draft.
Where's Boogie Basham right now?
Boogie Basham is probably watching our podcast. Carolina. Go figure.
Yep.
Go figure. Will he make it? We don't know. But I mean, the thing is, you look at the guys we take, and Cato said it. We never take guys from SEC. We don't take the creme de la creme from any of these. Why are we not talking about Troy Amos out of Ole Miss at cornerback? Why are we not talking about Azare Thomas out of Florida State at an ACC? We're talking about freaking. Who are we talking about? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know. It's like Will Johnson, Travis Hunter. There's nobody after that. Yes, there are.
Right.
There's plenty of guys.
Yeah.
But going back to what Jim Manos is saying, he said, where are the physical freaks in Buffalo? Where are your dogs? He talked about how they didn't have a first-round draft pick in 2017, and they took Ron Darby. He said, the speed, cover, quickness, that was a rare thing. That's why we took him. He said, Elam getting on the field is ridiculous. No one talks about that, though. He must not be watching our podcast. I'll give him that. You know, but overspending on Diggs when everybody knew he had 2 years in him before he leaves, as everywhere else he wears out his welcome. Overspending on Vaughn. He said, now you're thirsty for Myles Garrett. Well, no ish. He said this. Well, no ish. You should want Myles Garrett. Guess what? You should want him. But you should go get him. But maybe you will win the Super Bowl. That's a lazy GM. He said, that's lazy GM. That's an easy one. He said, the hard part is finding the ones in the first rounders. He said, talk about who they select the years after the Super Bowl win. He was talking about Patrick Robinson when they took him in New Orleans. He said, that's a guy we took was a cornerstone for years after we won. He said, so there are players after, the first 15 in the draft. You have to go find them. You got to scout. He kept saying this. You have to lean on your scouts. Tyler Dunn said, who do you think is draft? Who do you think is making? He said, I can tell you. He said, I can tell you it's not the scouts that make the calls in the first and second round. He said, I'm gonna keep saying it. I can tell you it's not them. He said, it's your GM and your head coach that make the calls in the first and second round. Because he was talking to Terrence Gray, the guy that's going trying to interview. Where was it? Is it Carolina or is it Jacksonville? Terrence Gray, he was going for the GM job somewhere. I forget, but. Okay. He was our one of our lead scouts, pro personnel guys, or college personnel guys, and he said, they don't even really talk to them until the later rounds. They don't even talk to him. So what does that tell you?
Wow.
He said, and this is salty models who got fired, got replaced, said they have excellent scouts in Buffalo. He said they have top dog scouts in Buffalo.
Wow.
And you can't hit on a first and second round draft pick. This is what he's saying. And the thing is, I'm listening to this and I'm like, what is going on? He said, he said, put Jalen Hurts on the Bills and I bet you they don't make the playoffs. That's crazy. Now that's wild. If you put them in Buffalo, they don't make the playoffs with our division. You got to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's insane. And he goes. I'm not going to give you the whole thing because he goes into the people that they did talk to, the people that they passed on was Chris Jones. He was here for that draft. He said we weren't going to move on him at all. Yeah, he said we weren't moving on Chris Jones because he had trade issues. They didn't not culture, but they were worried about his motor. They were worried about his effort, which is why he went to the second round. He said Mono said he's a game breaker. He said, but he only shows up in big moments. So he said at the time we couldn't do nothing with that. We had to,
makes sense. That makes
yeah.
sense.
So I mean, the insight of this, he talked about. I mean, he dogged Epinesa, not dog, but he went in on Epinesa. He went in on Vonnie. He went in on.
What do you say about Epinesa?
He said he's a try-hard guy. He's all right. He said, but you can find him anywhere in the draft. He said that's an anywhere player.
Wow.
He said there's nothing special about him.
Wow.
He said, wait, this is. What did he say? He said, I don't even want to tease it. He said, did I not type it in? Wait, I think I did. Hold on. He said Bishop is Taylor. He's terrible. He said he's terrible. He said he's a linebacker.
What?
Yeah. He said, well, see, Tyler Dunn asked him, he said the Bills' talent is good enough to beat the Chiefs in 4 straight regular season games, but in the playoff games, no. Mono said, well, we signed Hyde and Poyer in 2017, and they never replaced them. They never worked on replacing them. And that's when he said, Bishop is terrible. He's a linebacker. He said, at this point, you can beat the Chiefs, but what about the Bengals? What about the Ravens? What about Houston? He said, what about the Chargers? Well, I said, what about the Chargers? You could add them. But then you got to go to the NFC, the Eagles.
The Commanders.
The Commanders. I mean, that whole division is going to be a juggernaut.
Yeah.
And then they went on, and this is a stat I didn't know. They went on and they were talking about how only 3 coaches in the Super Bowl era have won a chip after being with the team over 9 years. Tom Landry in year 12, Hank Stram in year 10, don't even know where he was. Bill Cowher year 14. Madden was in 8 years. John Madden, the one we played a video game, 8 years to win a Super Bowl with that team. So it can be done. He said, what he's saying is, stop using the Andy Reid example. He said he didn't win it in Philly. He said he had to go to another team, draft a GOAT quarterback, and then let the rest fall into it.
Right.
So,
but he's also like this is the difference. He's also elite on his side of the ball. So as an offensive coordinator, he's elite.
Yep.
We haven't seen Sean be elite when it comes to stopping these great offenses.
I don't think honestly, and this is no shade. I don't think he is ever going to be elite at defense. His style is dated.
Oh yeah.
He's lauded as aggressive, but he's still conservative.
It's a college scheme.
And my man was telling me, we were talking about it, and I said, what about this on the defense? What about that? He's like, Frazier. I said, but then why did we see the same thing when Frazier was gone? Why did we just see the same thing last year?
Exactly.
The same iteration of defense every time we have a defensive coordinator. It's the same thing.
Yep.
I wonder why. So why are we taking the same kind of players? Why are we running the same construct? Why are we still running? Why are you not excited enough to figure out how to put Terrence Johnson on the field while getting 3 linebackers on the field?
It explains the smirks that Leslie Frazier used to have on his face when people asked him about the nickel defense.
Yeah.
You ever notice that smirk? He used to have this smirk of like,
like, man, ain't gonna work.
It's and I recognize it because I used to have it whenever I would have to talk about something that I know is stupid, but I have to sound like I respect it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was the smirk that I saw on his face. Like, like he just was shaking his head while he was talking and just, the teams can't get us out of it.
Right.
Like, we're until teams force us to get out of it, we're just not going to get out of it. Like that, like that's something to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like teams don't have to get you out of it because they're destroying you with it. Mm-hmm. If anything, they're begging you to stay in it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep giving you looks that makes you want to stay in nickel, and we're just gonna run right through you. So look, all of this stuff, as you said, before we started the show, and even now, the "I told you so" factor is on 1,000,000 right now. Mm-hmm. Because this is yet again Tyler Dunne bringing somebody on to prove further what he's already put into the report that he put out a couple of years ago, which is we've got a Sean McDermott problem. He said it. Not these ain't my words right now. I'm talking about what Tyler Dunne has said, mm-hmm. and is now reiterated again through someone that he's had on the show who worked for the Buffalo Bills. Yep. So, look, I understand that there are a lot of people that, how can I say this? There are a lot of people right now who want to see what happens with this new iteration of the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. And okay, cool. Right? The only question that I think I have from now on is how much longer? Yeah. I'm not going to debate. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to say anything else in terms of what I think is right or wrong, because we got guys, as you said, that do this on a full-time basis, and it's their job to do this, that are saying the same things that we're saying, right? They may not be the popular voice, because the popular voices are talking about other stuff that doesn't matter, like Josh Allen winning an MVP, and Josh Allen's got to make that play in that game, even though he's the only playmaker on the team. You know what I'm saying? That's the stuff they're talking about. Fine, let them talk about that stuff. But the people who are really talking about the root issues with the Buffalo Bills, they're saying this. Like, our radio folks are now starting to say the defense is a problem. They haven't been saying that for years.
It was hands off. Couldn't do it.
Right. So this is a fog of war slowly creeping over the city, and look, you guys decide whatever you want to believe. That's fine. At the end of the day, I need someone to answer this question with certainty. Somebody who truly believes in their heart of hearts that Sean McDermott is going to be the reason we win a Super Bowl.
Rich, this your chance.
Tell me how many years you're going to give Sean McDermott to do that. Just tell me that. I just need that specific answer, and I'll shut up. Because once I get that answer, it's going to immediately turn into, all right, let's see what happens. I'll wait. I'm completely content to wait however many years you say to see if it actually happens. Yeah. But if it doesn't happen,
I'm going to be old.
I'm going to be on that tail.
I won't even remember. I have a hard time remembering things now.
Right. Spin says 20 years. Okay.
20 years?
20 years.
That's 12 more seasons?
I'm going to be senile and virile at that point.
I'll be 52. Like, why am I still? Oh, God.
Yeah. Sweat says we have a McDermott, Bean, and Pagula problem. All three are right. But all three.
To your statement earlier about Eric Ciano, Mono said that he knows for a fact Sean liked him, but he had to let him go. He said he does know for a fact Sean makes tough calls and he respects it. He said that Sean conducts player surveys. So it's kind of like that scene in The Temptations when they're all standing on the glass that everybody makes a meme out of. Yeah. And they come to a consensus that he has to go tell David Ruffin you out the group. So I will say that. He said that he mentioned the fact that saying Dalton Kincaid has to be bigger and stronger. Is that you drafted him to do one thing and now you want to bulk him up and make him play a different game? That sounds like Epinesa to me. That's what I said. That's exactly what happened to Epinesa. He was a Greg Rousseau. And that's why I hated the Rousseau pick, because I'm like, you just drafted dude to do just that,
right? And
you made him lose weight. Now he can't stop, and now you say he's underweight. What are you doing?
Yep.
He was drafted at 280. Now he's like 258 or something like that.
Yep.
Some bull
260.
Crap. Yeah. So it's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
You don't draft guys and try to mold them. You know, when you go from high school to college, yeah, you're trying to mold a guy. You put them on a program. But when you're talking about paying guys money, that's the finished product.
Exactly.
There's no rough drafts in the NFL.
Yep.
Kyrie Elam is the rough draft, unfortunately, and he has to keep revising it.
I think that was what was so funny about this talk about, developing players. Like, look, guys either find something in them to bring out to be great, or they just are who they are. There is no developmental process in the NFL. You can either play or you can't. I'm going to either put you in a position to be great or I'm not as a coach, right? That's the name of the game. The name of the game is, if you're a man cover guy and I put you in a zone defense and you're not great at zone, that's my fault, not the players.
Yep.
I can't look at that player and say, well, he's got to develop in zone. He's had his whole college career, his whole career in high school before that to develop in zone, and they couldn't get it out of him. So what makes you think you going to do it?
Yeah.
That's the part that's frustrating. Real quick.
Go ahead.
Comment I wanted to get to here. Salvi says, Tyler Dunne is a respectable NFL writer. The McDermott cult buried their heads. 100%.
Yeah. And I wanted to touch on this point because this is so important. And I didn't think about this, but he was talking about, Manos was talking about why the Bills are screwing up. Basically, he was saying, if you look at Philly, they don't let you get to that end of the fourth year before they extend you. He said, as soon as you're eligible, if they want you, they're going to keep you. And they're going to make it work because if you let them get to that fourth year and they have that contract year and blow up, guess what? You got to pay a lot. You got in his estimation, he was talking about James Cook. He mentioned that. He said, would I give him $15 million? I'm not comfortable with $15 million, but what's that? It is Tubi. But anyway, why would we give him $15 million? Like we talked about before, the contract would not actually pay him $15 million, a season, but that's the number that we would put on it. He said, but if you let him play next year and he does what? He does more. Now you're gonna look at more than $15 million.
Exactly.
So he said when you're looking at teams that keep their own players, they identify who their players. Elam should have been gone because you identify you can't use him. Why is he still here? Guys like that. What are you doing? So
they didn't want to be wrong about a first round pick again.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
It's very damning. But I'd rather them be wrong and identify it and move on than hold it and say, ha, there's still a shot. You can't do nothing with them. And the thing is, Buffalo, we do draft too many raw players. That's the thing. And that goes back to what we're talking about with Spin in regards to the smaller schools, the guys that because if you get an SEC guy, they play against SEC guys, and SEC guys go to the pros. So you're playing against pros. Van Pran Granger has seen that defensive tandem in college, in practice every day.
Yeah.
He's used to that. He's ready for that. So it's up to the Bills to say, you know what? McGovern, okay, you're cool, but we got this SEC blue chipper.
Yep.
Let's use him. Let's figure this out. Put him at guard. I don't care what you do. He needs to be on the field now. But it was funny. The last thing I will say about it, like I said, this was a beautiful podcast. I really enjoyed. But they got into a little lighthearted, not debate, but agreement. Let's see where I put it. They were talking about Mr. Brightside.
Oh, yes.
Mano said, the regular season is going to be, you can go ahead and dance to that bum song that they play, all that crap they do at the stadium. Get to the playoffs, get to the Super Bowl, it's enough. You don't need the music. Just get to the playoffs and Super Bowl, it's enough. He said, forget all this garbage celebration. He said, I don't even think they even like the song. Dunn said, I think it feels forced at this point. It was cool for a while, but now it's just not.
Of course.
And Mano said, bring it back only for playoff wins. I will sing and dance to that when we win the AFC Championship. I will sing every verse to it, but not until then. And he also, Nugget Mano said, stay the hell away from Shedeur Sanders. He said,
really?
He said, is he going to be good? Yeah, he's good. He said, but he's not special. He said, there's nothing about that guy that's gonna be a game record. He's not gonna be revolutionary. He said Cam Ward is definitely better. So That was his pick. I really enjoyed his talk about how the inner workings of the scouting department was with this. It kind of gave me a look inside. You know, I don't think his mic was turned all the way up so you couldn't hear him the greatest, but I don't have good ears. You guys will be fine. But trust me, if you find it on YouTube, give it a listen. I'm going to send it to you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And we'll talk about it further.
Okay.
But yeah, give me like 4 minutes here because I don't think it's going to be a conversation piece. I just had to get it off my chest. I'll shut up about it for the rest of my life. I read an article that said James Cook needs to be traded. You saw the trade I saw. Mm-hmm. Fine. But the thing is, you trade him, but for me, it's another example of we don't want to deviate from our philosophy. Running backs are a dime a dozen. That's their philosophy. We have Ray Davis. People say he's a gimmick because he only plays 44% of snaps. But those 44%, people said James Cook couldn't run between the tackles last year, right? Before this past season. What did he do? He ran between the tackles. He had contact balance. He ran through tackles. People said he couldn't catch. Last year, how many drops did he have? 2, maybe? Mm-hmm. What else does he have to do? I mean, people are talking about he can't block. Did you know Pro Football Focus has him rated as our best blocking running back?
Really?
Yes. Not saying he's good, but Ray Davis and Ty Johnson are worse.
Right.
So the thing is, if you look at Pro Football's record, we don't have one player, if you put the qualifier 20% of the top dogs passing snaps, which would be 179. I'm guessing that was like Derrick Henry or whatever. If you look at that top 50 list, not one Bills running back is on there. Baltimore has 3 inside the top 50. So Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, and their fullback Ricard. Kansas City has 2 running backs that are in the top 50 of running back blocking. Philadelphia 2. If you take that all the way out and put every running back that has a pass blocking rep, Cook was 49th. He's the only one that made the top 50 if you go all running backs. So why don't you get creative? Because it's always something. We don't want to pay 15 mil. Fine, I get it. But stop quantifying it with other bull stuff. Just say what it is. You want what you want. I'm good with that. But don't masquerade as if he's deficient and he's 40. The man did more with less. What did Max say? The least amount of carries to get 1,000 yards. Mm-hmm. He's the first running back since 1973 in Bills history to have 17 rushing touchdowns. What else you need from him? What else he's not asking for 20 mil. He's not asking for Christian McCaffrey. He's asking for the back end of Saquon Barkley, the back end of Derrick Henry. The man is 25 years old. He's entering his prime. The league has recognized him as elite, one of the best running backs in the league, is what the league is saying, not us, the league. It comes at a premium. So everybody talking about let Cook and let this happen. So what are we gonna do in Khalil Shakir? Now I'm not gonna park on this, but I know we got to get out of here. But Locked On Bills today, Joe Marino said Khalil Shakir's asking price, his market value is 19 mil.
What?
Okay, I mean it's 19 mil.
I mean, I'm not surprised for.
But
this
that's what I'm saying.
But
why are you not you? But why are you surprised by that?
Yeah,
he was our number one guy. He was our top dog forever with nothing around him. Yeah. As they say about Josh Allen, without Shakir and Cook, Josh really had nothing around him except an offensive line. I'll wait. Who was around him? So when you say 19 mil for a premier slot guy, he's going to be a top target for wherever he goes. And you can massage it however you want. You can extend it, put however many years you want on it, but it's going to equal out to about 19. And that's fine because you look at Justin Jefferson's in the 30s. You look at Jamal Chase in the 30s. You got guys that are breaking the bank, but you got your best weapon. Josh's guy, your favorite quarterback, his guy, the only guy that he can depend on, and you scoff at 19 mil. Yeah. You scoff at these are the 2 guys that Josh depends on above anybody else that's not offensive line, and you scoff at that? Are you scoffing at your quarterback?
Cato says Bills are all about propaganda. LOL. You see, they gave a dude a 2019 Traverse. I didn't see that. Did you? See
Slick Rick.
Oh, they gave Slick Rick. Okay,
yeah,
that's right.
Okay. 2019. They jumped on that though. It should have been a 2025.
Exactly.
Though.
It's 2025 already. Like, what are we talking about?
He ain't get his good, but man, get this man something lavish.
Somebody go to one of these corner dealerships on Transit or somewhere and just get this guy a Traverse. Get him a truck.
What's her? Shout out. Y'all should have talked to my guy. My guy at What's Her. I would have hooked you up.
Yeah, of course.
Free plug.
But yeah, really. But this is kind of the stuff that I've talked about before with the Buffalo Bills, and I think that's why Mr. Brightside is such a big deal now, because it's all part of a tactic to connect with fans. And listen, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a business working to connect with their fans, but in a relationship like this, where, you know what, I'm trying to find the most PC way to say this. I'll say it like this: if I went and bought a car and my car wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, you know, when I shift gears to drive, it's supposed to go forward. When I put it in reverse, it goes backwards. When I put it in neutral, it doesn't go anywhere. When I put it in park, it's completely stopped. I can take my foot off the brake and not have to worry about it. If all that stuff is backwards when I buy the car, there's an issue with that, right? But then after I take the car back to the shop, they start, you know, singing this little, you know, ditty about, you know, how transmissions are so great, and they got this song that they play while they fix my transmission, and it gets me snapping. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm into this song. You know? Fix my transmission, fix my transmission. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just really into my transmission getting fixed, right?
I was not into it. Yeah,
it's right. So now I'm like, I'm cool waiting because, you know, I got this cool music and all that kind of, you know what I'm saying? And then listen, while the music is going on, they have some puppies like running around the waiting room. So now I'm like, I'm really in heaven because I got puppies I can sit here and pet and play with. I got some fix my transmission music going on. Like, you laughing and it seems ridiculous. It seems extremely ridiculous, right? But this is what the Buffalo Bills have been doing this whole time. While they're trying to fix my team, they got me singing songs and they got me cheering for all this ancillary stuff that has nothing to do with actual winning. And I'm loving it, right? And look, I can't say anything negative past this point, but I think the bottom line is we have to acknowledge that to some degree the marketing is working, and it's not a bad thing to connect with the team. But if the product itself that we're paying for is not doing what we expect it to do for the money that we're paying, at some point we got to ask to talk to a manager. At some point we got to go to the dealership and we got to say, look, my car has been here way too many times. You're either going to give me a new car or I'm going to go somewhere else.
I'm tired of this song. Yeah.
Right. Like, this fix my transmission song is getting old. These puppies are 3 years old now.
He's laying down. He ain't running.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't interested in coming and getting pet no more. He ain't interested in playing fetch. He don't care about none of that no more.
Why does he have cataract?
Right.
But you know what though? If they would have upped the ante up and gave you some of that Reed's tea, I bet you would have no problem going back and get your transmission fixed. Because not only would they fix your transmission, they would give you libation that's 1 part refreshing, 1 part delicious, 2 parts healthy. That's what you can expect when you get a transmission change from Fix My Transmission guy and have a glass of Reed's tea with you. I don't drink tea, but let me tell you,
for life.
I will get my transmission fixed by the transmission guy if they give me a good glass of this stuff here. What you doing? Head over to Reed's. Get yourself a supply by the case or individual. What are you doing? Get yourself a case. You won't be disappointed. But what do I know? See for yourself. Reed's Tea. Click on the link in the description below. Tell them Post Podium Podcast sent you.
You starting to sound like them dudes at the end of the infomercials.
I'm trying to get you out of here today.
No, I appreciate that. I got a meeting I got to get to. Okay, so, bam. All right, if you're hearing that music, that means it's time for us to jump out the window. Look, I really appreciate everybody who showed up today. All 102 of y'all. Listen, from the bottom of my heart, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Look, Sweat, I did see what you said about doing a draft show. I think Key is going to be down. I think that's all we had to say is a live draft show. He wants us to do a live draft show. So
yeah,
I think we could do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not? We might as well give it a shot. So, look, keep a lookout for that. I'll make an announcement on what days we're going to do, you know, the game plan for that. Tomorrow I will be announcing the new show and when it's going to air and all that great stuff. That's what my meeting tonight is about. So keep a lookout for that in the community section of our channel, or I think it's posts now, right? It used to be community and now it's just posts.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I'm lost.
They just changed the name without telling people about it.
I just toggle through stuff.
Yeah. So definitely keep a lookout for that stuff. Look, if you liked any of what you heard tonight and you want to be notified whenever we're back on, first thing you could do to support the channel is you can hit that like button. Second thing is you can hit the subscribe button. I mean, that would be great, but you still wouldn't get all the notifications for whenever we go live and the posts and all that kind of stuff. For that, you gotta hit that bell. You gotta make that thing
Ring-a-ling-a-ling.
so that you can get notifications when we send notifications and stay on top of all the biggest Bills news in the city. All right. So look, this has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. We do got to jump out this window quick. I have been your co-host, Daramus.
For the keys.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night.
Peace.